Thank you for tuning in once again to his Vine and Fig Tree podcast. My name is Kurt Olson. I'm your host, coming to you on the morning of it's tax day, April 15th, 2026. And a few quick things I want to bring to your attention this week. Um, and again, these things grab my attention. If there are things that people want talked about, you'd have to send me messages, okay? But these things grab my attention. So, first one was a video that I came across over the weekend. Um, and I'm going to describe it here. I'm going to let people watch it at their leisure. I do not think it was AI generated for a variety of reasons, and it's everything from the background to the content. So I don't think it's AI generated, although very mindful that those things exist these days. And the other thing that makes me believe it was real was the fact that it was originally, while I came across it in around the 11th or 12th of April, this thing was first shot March 14th. And the video is of broad daylight, open air slavery of children in Africa. The original video, the original post came in Spanish and it was translated. Um, and supposedly it emerged from the Democratic Republic of the Congo. And that is a location where there has been a lot of persecution of Christians in recent years. A lot of places in sub-Saharan Africa is the most dangerous place in the world for Christ followers. And I know this thing is not unusual for this area of the world, because I've seen the videos of the cobalt mines in Africa where little kids are mining this stuff. And this was a video of a bunch of kids that emerge from these bags. These bags, there's movement happening in them. And this one guy opens them up one at a time, and you get one where there's an older kid, probably in his teens, early to mid-teens. You get another one where there's a couple of younger kids, one easily preschool age, the other one probably early elementary. I literally wanted to reach through my computer. I mean, I obviously wasn't seeing this live, but I wanted to reach through my computer and engage in physical violence against the people doing this. This kind of stuff is happening. It is real. And what we don't know is, did these kids land in sex slavery in a Muslim country, or were they solely headed to cobalt mines in the Congo, or God knows where? Um, that was the one sobering thing that kind of started the stuff that was like, I need to share this. So you can watch the 2 minute, I believe it's like 40-second video. Judge for yourselves. I mean, if you think it's a fake, certainly let me know, but I don't think it is. I don't think it is at all. Um, Secondly, um, the Jerusalem Post. The Jerusalem Post is one of my go tos for news out of the Middle East, and with obviously things happening between Israel and America right now and Iran. Um, you know, a few times a week, I will go to the Jerusalem Post to find out what they're reporting and why. But this emerged last Thursday. I saw this, and I'm going to read some of this story. The headline is Why Americans Turn to Al Jazeera instead of CNN or Fox during Iran war. This is a commentary. So it ran on the editorial page of the Jerusalem Post. But so the writer is Zika Klein. But anyways, this number, which has nothing to do with missiles, should worry Israeli strategists more than most of what came out of the 40-day war. At some point during the Iran war, Al Jazeera English pulled within striking distance of CNN on YouTube. 17.9 million subscribers to CNN's 19.2, and it is closing the gap at a rate of 500,000 new subscribers a month. Fox News has 15.2 million subscribers on YouTube, while 16 million Americans consumed information about this war via Al Jazeera. The Al Jazeera Arabic channel already dwarfs both at 23.1 million. Through Al Jazeera Plus, the network also publishes digital first video content in French and Spanish. Al Jazeera has more than 40 million subscribers on its YouTube platform alone. CNN and Fox have 34.4 million subscribers combined. Nobody in Jerusalem is tracking this news. Nobody in Washington is either. But that single data point tells you more about the trajectory of the next decade's information wars than any Pentagon briefing or think tank's white paper. Qatar now funds the most watched English language news channel covering the Middle East. And it got there because the West stopped showing up. Fox News, the loudest cheerleader for the Iran campaign, lost 19% of its web traffic in March. Al Jazeera gained 30% in the American market, or 16 million U.S. visits in a single month per Press Gazette. The most pro-war outlet in the country hemorrhaged readers like a Qatari-funded network that brands the conflict, the U.S.-Israeli war on Iran absorbed them. Americans were at war. They went looking for coverage on a channel bankrolled by Doha. This article goes back to say that this goes back to the October 7 massacre, 2023 massacre when Hamas attacked Israel. They point to a lot of things, including the New York Times leaving the region and other things. I have some theories of what's going on here, and they are simply theories. What's going on? What we don't know are the party breakdown of what's going on here, Democrat, Republican. We also don't know age groups, millennials, Gen Z, or is this Gen X and boomers and across multiple age groups. And I don't have any inside information. So what I'm about to share is simply theory, speculation, theory, but based on kind of more of a gut instinct of how this kind of thing could be working. And the gut instinct comes from what we've seen happen in our country on college campuses. For example, last night, Hassan Piker, a guy on social media who is one of the most outrageous anti Semites floating around America, um, got a standing ovation at, what was it? Was it Harvard? Yale? I think it was Yale. And before a presentation. And if this kind of thing that the Jerusalem Post reported is going on, I think it's happening because what we see happening, unfolding in our own country with the millennials and Gen Z having a tendency among them to not like Israel, and two, have a greater attention toward people who are saying things against Israel. And they don't want, while this war is going on, they don't want news that could potentially shine positive light on Israel. And it's one of those things where this is potentially a significant thing happening, difference between the generations, and some people who are now done with U.S. support of Israel. And it's driven by the fact that we give them a lot of foreign aid, and people are asking, what are we getting in return? But a lot of this is driven by pure anti Semitic fervor that is happening in these generations. And there's going to be a lot of people asking some hard questions about why Americans are heading toward Qatar or Qatar and a Doha funded news outlet for any form of legitimacy of things that are happening in the Middle East. And that's going to get me to Iran again, something I didn't talk about last week. And the week before was Easter, and I stayed away from it then as well. But just getting back to this, I mean, I'm going to share a variety of links in the description to this podcast. And one of them is going to be an account that Eric Erickson is a name that I trust. I trust him because I have people who I know who trust him. He's got good instincts on politics and other things, and he shares an account of why you don't negotiate with Iran. And it's simply because they are apocalyptic Islamic. We're going to usher in the Mahdi. That's their worldview. The worldview of Iran is we usher in the Mahdi by getting rid of Israel. That's their worldview. And um, I'll let this account that Eric Erickson shows reveals speak for itself. But we're at an interesting spot here with this conflict. And we have just weeks ago, Trump was saying it wasn't going to last much longer. And meanwhile, we're seeing that during this recent ceasefire, China was pumping in cargo planes into Tehran. And I can't believe for a second that's about, we're sending them the next line of Chinese vehicles or the next line of products on Timu. Um, they're resupplying them with a variety of things to help sustain the Iranian regime because they're tied at the hip. And the harsh reality is this: the Iranian people, the vast majority of Iranian people, in a country of 92 million people, there's anywhere between 3 and 9 million who are rabid supporters of the regime. That means most people don't like the Islamic theocracy. It means that most people are done and they want their freedom. And the people that are running things, and we really don't know who's running things right now because for every group that is knocked off by Israel or the US in some attack, someone else comes to the fore, and we really don't know who's in charge now. And the Iranian people are willing to take this thing to the bitter end, which means the Islamic regime is gone. And that is now a sentiment that is taking hold in the Gulf states as well. Because as this thing started, Iran starts lobbing missiles into Saudi Arabia and Jordan and a variety of other places, the United Arab Emirates. And so some of these countries are now saying, we're done with the Iranian regime. And with the US now blockading the Strait of Hormuz, which is the economic livelihood of the country, if that continues much longer, at what point does the Iranian country just kind of cease to exist because their economy has cratered and they don't have a country? And because Iran relies on Iran for oil, is that going to bring China officially in the mix? And what people keep calling this a war of our choosing. Okay? Well, this is one of Trump's multiple plays against China. We've seen it in Venezuela, we've seen it in Cuba, and Iran is the next spot because the Iranians are tied at the hip with both China and Russia. And ultimately, this is a war that's going on against them as well. And Russia can't afford to be involved. And China is now sharing satellite information on American military locations in the region. So it's going to be very interesting how this plays out because I'm of the mindset there's no business to be negotiating with these people. Kind of like Eric Erickson and a variety of others who've said some similar things. And yet, we're now at a point where what does China do? And we had just in the last couple days uh, warning shots come from China on we are not going to let our energy source be obstructed. So it's going to be very, very interesting what comes of that. And so the mood in the region has changed as this thing has taken shape. They're done with the Iranian regime and they want new leadership there. And so does the vast majority of Iranians. But does China let it happen? Does Russia let it happen? does the last vestiges of power that exist in that country through the military and others let it happen? And then, meanwhile, just last night, you were seeing reports of explosions out of certain locations in the country that involve national security forces, the Basij, spelled Basij, uh, uh, groups, um, truck truck bombs exploding, someone driving up and just getting out and a bomb going off. And there was also reports of someone connected with the Basij security forces stabbed. Okay. And there are people that are saying there are elements within the country of Iran who are now beginning to take matters into their own hands, which frankly is what the US and Israel want to see happen, anyways, because at some point, these people have to take the risks that are necessary to get their country back. So that's where things sit on multiple things here. But I just wanted to share some things that kind of just grabbed my attention as some things happened late last weekend, and just some and the human trafficking stuff is one of the things on my heart. Um, I don't think we're ever going to end it simply because sin is a part of human nature. But when I saw that video out of Africa, I was like, this angers me. But that's where we are on those several things. Dropping a new column this Sunday. Um, uh, if you like what you're hearing, if you like what you're reading through the column, please share it. And I thank you in advance for that. And we are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. And until next time, God bless and goodbye.